I sat quietly in the back of my father's hospital room, watching my sister Victoria parade around in her new Armani suit, already acting like the CEO she assumed she would become. Dad lay unconscious, the steady beep of monitors the only sound challenging Victoria's continuous stream of self-importance. As the new CEO of Morrison Technologies, my first act will be to modernize our approach, she announced to our mother, who nodded absently while holding Dad's hand. It's time this company entered the 21st century. I almost smiled at the irony. Victoria had no idea that Morrison Tech had already been modernizing rapidly over the past year, through shell companies I controlled. Of course, Sarah will keep her position in accounting, Victoria added magnanimously, throwing me a condescending glance. We need someone to manage the smaller accounts. If she only knew that my position in accounting was a cover that allowed me to monitor the company while I quietly bought up shares through various investment vehicles. The smaller accounts I managed were worth more than the entire department she thought I worked in. The board meeting tomorrow will be a formality, Victoria continued. As the most qualified family member, I'm the obvious choice to take over while Dad recovers. Mom looked at me apologetically. Sarah, honey, you understand, right? Victoria has an MBA from Harvard. And I just have my state college degree, I finished for her, the same line I'd heard for years. What they didn't know was that while Victoria was getting her prestigious MBA, I was building an investment empire that now controlled businesses worth billions. My phone buzzed, a text from my real assistant, Marcus. Final share purchase complete. We now own 51% of Morrison Tech through various holdings. Board meeting documents prepared. Ready when you are. I typed back. Proceed as planned. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Victoria was still talking. My first order of business will be to remove that ridiculous profit-sharing program Dad started. Employees don't need to own company stock, they need to work harder. The profit-sharing program had been my anonymous suggestion to the board, implemented through one of my shell companies. It had improved productivity by 40% in 6 months. Speaking of the board meeting, Victoria turned to me, you don't need to attend. It's really for executive-level personnel only. I nodded meekly, playing my part. Of course. I'll just stay with Dad. Good. She checked her reflection in the window. I need to go prepare my acceptance speech. Mom, make sure my office is ready first thing tomorrow. I want Dad's name off the door before the meeting starts. After she left, Mom squeezed my hand. I know it seems unfair, sweetie, but Victoria does have more experience. I patted her hand, thinking about the documents waiting in my briefcase. Papers showing that Catherine Shaw, the mysterious investor who'd been buying up Morrison Tech stock, was actually her younger daughter. It's fine, Mom. Tomorrow will take care of itself. That evening, I worked from my modest apartment, actually the entire top floor of the city's most exclusive building. Multiple screens showed Morrison Tech's financial data, stock movements, and the elaborate network of companies I'd built over the past decade. Marcus appeared on my video call. Everything's in place. The board members have all received the ownership disclosure documents. They're surprised. I imagine they are. I smiled, remembering Victoria's dismissal of my capabilities. Have our security team ready tomorrow. I suspect my sister won't take this well. Already done. Also, Mr. Chin from the Asian division called. The merger you engineered last month has increased profits by 200%. I nodded, thinking of how Victoria had mocked my suggestion about expanding into Asian markets years ago. Good. Any word from Dad's doctors? He's stable. They expect him to regain consciousness within a few days. Perfect timing. He'd wake up to find his company not only safe from Victoria's impulsive management style but thriving under the leadership of the daughter everyone had underestimated. As I prepared for bed, another text from Victoria. Don't be late to work tomorrow. I'll need those quarterly reports right after the board meeting. I typed back, don't worry. I'll definitely be at the board meeting. I told you it's executives only, she replied immediately. Trust me, I wrote. I wouldn't miss this meeting for anything. The next morning I arrived at Morrison Technologies headquarters early, wearing my usual modest business attire. The security guards, who secretly reported to my holding company, nodded respectfully as I passed. In the elevator, I could hear two executives discussing the mysterious documents they'd received last night. Catherine Shaw owns how much? One whispered. 51%, the other replied. But who is she? I smiled, remembering the moment I'd chosen that pseudonym, Catherine, my grandmother's name, who'd always told me to play the long game, and Shaw from the chess grandmaster who'd famously said, "Sometimes the quietest move is the most powerful." Victoria was already in the boardroom, standing at our father's usual place at the head of the table. She'd replaced his nameplate with her own and was practicing what appeared to be a victory speech. "As your new CEO, I promise to lead Morrison Technologies into a bold new future." I slipped into my usual corner seat, opening my laptop to reveal not accounting spreadsheets, but the complete corporate structure of my holding companies. A message from Marcus popped up: all board members present. Legal team standing by. At exactly 9 a.m. Harrison Wells, the board chairman, called the meeting to order. Victoria remained standing, her expression triumphant. "Before we begin," Harrison announced, "we need to address the ownership documents distributed last night. As you're all aware, a majority stakeholder has emerged." Victoria waved her hand dismissively. Yes, some investor bought some shares. But as Dad's eldest daughter and most qualified executive Ms. Morrison, Harrison interrupted, "perhaps you should take a seat. This concerns you directly." "I'll stand, thank you." Victoria's smile was condescending. "As I was saying, Catherine Shaw," Harrison continued firmly, "through various investment vehicles, now controls 51% of Morrison Technologies. According to our bylaws, this gives her the right to appoint the new CEO. Victoria's smile froze. "What? That's impossible. Daddy would never sell controlling interest to an outsider." "Miss Shaw isn't exactly an outsider," Harrison replied, then turned to me. "Is she, Ms. Morrison?" Every head in the boardroom turned toward my corner. I stood slowly, pulling out my own stack of documents. "Catherine Shaw is my professional name," I said clearly. "I've been acquiring shares through multiple investment firms for the past year." Victoria's face went from confusion to disbelief to rage in seconds. That's ridiculous. You're just an accountant." "Actually," I picked up her nameplate from the head of the table and replaced it with one reading Sarah Morrison, "I'm your new boss." The boardroom erupted in murmurs as I distributed detailed files showing exactly how I'd built my business empire while maintaining my cover in the accounting department. "This is a joke," Victoria sputtered. "Sarah doesn't have the money or the expertise to Your sister," Harrison interrupted, "has been running one of the largest private investment firms in Asia for the past 8 years. The accounting position was just a way to monitor the company while she acquired shares." I pulled up a presentation on the boardroom screens, showing the true scope of my business holdings. Morrison Technologies is just my latest acquisition. My holding company, Shaw Enterprises, controls interests in technology, real estate, and manufacturing across 3 continents. Victoria sank into a chair, her perfect composure cracking. But your apartment, your clothes, you drive a Honda." "Appearances can be deceiving," I replied calmly. "While you were broadcasting your success, I was building something much bigger. That Honda. It's one of 100 vehicles my company owns. My apartment is actually the entire top floor of the Shaw Tower downtown. And these clothes, they're from a boutique fashion line I bought last year. This is outrageous." Victoria suddenly stood up, her voice shrill. "I'm calling Daddy's lawyers." "You mean Preston and Associates?" I smiled. "I acquired their firm 6 months ago. In fact, they helped structure the share purchases that gave me control of Morrison Technologies." The boardroom had gone completely silent, watching this drama unfold. Harrison cleared his throat. "If I may continue," he said, "Ms. Morrison, Sarah has already submitted a comprehensive 5-year plan for the company. I must say, it's the most impressive strategic vision I've seen in my 30 years on this board." I pulled up more slides on the screens showing my plans for Morrison Tech. While Victoria was planning to dismantle our employee stock program, I've been developing ways to expand it. Happy employees build better companies. "You can't do this," Victoria whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. "Mom and Dad already know," I replied softly. "I called Mom last night after you left the hospital. As for Dad," I pulled up another document. "He's known for months. Who do you think suggested I take this approach? That revelation hit Victoria like a physical blow. Dad knew. He helped you. Remember last year when he started talking about stepping down? He wasn't just thinking about retirement. He was watching both of us, evaluating who should really lead this company. I played a video recording on the screen. Dad in his office 6 months ago, looking healthy and determined. Sarah has shown me something remarkable, he said in the recording. Not just business acumen but true leadership. While Victoria sees the CEO position as a crown to be worn, Sarah sees it as a responsibility to be shouldered. The board has my full support in this transition. Victoria collapsed back into her chair, her carefully constructed world crumbling. All this time, you were playing us all? Not playing, I corrected. Planning. Building. Learning every aspect of this business from the ground up while you were focused on appearances and titles. I turned to the board. Now, shall we discuss the company's future? I've negotiated 3 major contracts in Asia that will double our market share by next quarter. The next hour was a detailed presentation of my vision for Morrison Technologies. Victoria sat silently, watching as the board members grew increasingly enthusiastic about my plans. By the end, even the most skeptical directors were nodding in approval. One last thing, I announced. Victoria, you're not being fired. She looked up, surprise breaking through her shock. You're being reassigned. You'll head our new European division under supervision, of course. It's time you learned how to build something, not just inherit it. Why? She asked quietly. Why not just fire me? Because that's the difference between us, I replied. You see business as a way to elevate yourself. I see it as a way to elevate everyone. Besides, I smiled, Dad always said family should stick together. As the board members filed out, congratulating me on my presentation, Victoria remained seated, staring at her reflection in the polished table. How did I miss it? She wondered aloud. All those years. You saw what you expected to see, I said, gathering my papers. The quiet sister in accounting, living modestly, driving an old car. You never asked yourself why someone with a finance degree and a perfect track record would stay in an entry-level position for 8 years. And Dad? He really knew. He figured it out last year when Shaw Enterprises started acquiring tech companies in Asia. He always said I reminded him of himself when he was younger, building something from nothing, staying quiet until the moment was right. Just then my phone buzzed. Mom was calling from the hospital. Dad's awake, she said excitedly. He's asking for both of you. Victoria looked at me uncertainly. I held the door open. Coming? I asked. We can take my Honda. She actually laughed, though it was shaky. The CEO of Morrison Technologies drives a Honda to visit her father in the hospital? No, I smiled. Today the CEO of Morrison Technologies takes her sister to visit their father in the Shaw Medical Center, which, by the way, I bought last month to ensure he got the best care possible. As we rode the elevator down, Victoria spoke softly. I've been horrible to you. Yes, you have. I didn't sugarcoat it. But now you have a chance to learn what real leadership means. Starting with humility. In the parking garage, I let her pass my Honda to a sleek Rolls-Royce with a chauffeur standing by. I thought we were taking your Honda, she said, confused. The Honda is for when I want to be underestimated, I replied, sliding into the car. Today, I'm teaching my sister her first lesson about appearances versus reality. As we drove to the hospital, I could see Victoria processing everything, her worldview shifting as she realized how completely she'd misjudged her quiet little sister. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone's world. It's about showing them a bigger one. Dad was sitting up when we arrived, looking tired but alert. He smiled when he saw us both. So, he said, I guess the board meeting is over? Yes, I replied, taking his hand. Though I think Victoria might have some questions about your part in all this. He looked at his eldest daughter, who stood uncertainly by the door. Come here, both of you, he said. It's time we had a long talk about what really makes a leader. And so began the next chapter of Morrison Technologies, led by the daughter everyone had underestimated, teaching the sister who had overestimated herself, under the proud gaze of the father who had seen it coming all along. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should watch most carefully. They might just be building an empire while you're busy announcing your own importance.